What is happening, everyone? Hopefully we're all doing okay. Let's walk into what I'm looking for today. So yesterday I did take a trade. I took a 1 to 2 on GU. I did send this into the free Telegram, and that has been broken down in advanced lengths in the premium group. So if you're a part of that, go and make sure to have a look at that breakdown. There's a lot that goes into this one. Really clean trade. Yesterday, a lot of people had trouble reading this price action. So that one's there for you guys. And now I've got the free basic breakdown coming on YouTube tomorrow. So that's scheduled and ready to go. But let's more or less look into what's happening today. So any of those linked, premium is at the top of the description. And you've got free Telegram and free Discord as well below if you would like to check that out. Now, today coming into onto EU. So we have come into this 4-hour point now. So I'm either expecting a reaction from this point or push through this point to then get a reaction. So they're kind of the two options. Now on EU, I actually don't see a way to do this yet. We haven't created anything of any substance yet. What it looks like is going to happen is we'll actually take this low and then slowly work our way up and probably take this high and then be able to take a sell. Okay, that's kind of the only option I'm seeing at the moment. What I am open to doing is using this as not a medium inducement, but using it as a valid area to understand that we're coming back to, and then take a buy through here just to this high to then possibly just sell down to this area to then buy back up through this point. But we have to understand that this area we're in, this entire area, it is valid to get a bit of a reaction off of. As you can see, it's definitely complex in terms of like we're retracing this way to then continue bullish at the moment. Like that's the current momentum. And all timeframes at the moment, intraday, 15 minutes, internal and external are bullish. Okay, so you've got to understand that we're not in a great area to necessarily take a trade. There's not a lot of structure to work with. So EU is the least likely to give us a reaction. But I am open to taking this low. Then we get a smart money trap reaction off of here, give it us an inducement low to then trade through that liquidity, targeting that high. I am open to that. I will, if we do take that trade, if I can get a 1 to 3 before this high, I am okay to actually partial and then look at taking full take profits more or less to that high. I'll just see the structure that it builds because like I said, on the 15 minute, it actually makes sense to more or less give that reaction to the downside. So if we break this low now, it then gives us that 2 leg here. It'll give us this valid area and valid point here. So you can actually look to sell off of the take of this. So once it breaks that low, that'll be my smart money trap that I'm looking to trade through. And then you may actually get something like that or something like that if we're going to partially sell off, okay? Just because the area, I am open to it. So they're kind of the two options coming into today. Just understand that if you try and take a buy, it can be short-lived. You're buying at the very top of a range. So you just got to understand the risk that comes with that. So they're the two options I kind of like today, but we've got to break this level first. Now GU, a lot cleaner. If we look at 4-hour, this is that decisional I think it will actually hold or at least create a big reaction from. We are bullish on that internal and external range on the 15 minute now, but I really do like to target this liquidity. I would like to come take this before we push higher through this, this supply. And what we've kind of done here is quite clean. So I'm expecting to come and take this low. So once we take this low, we have an internal break and it'll give us multiple points. I would actually like to see this more or less like make its way up first and come and like into this area to then sell. But you may find it kind of just gives that reaction straight up. So what happens if this breaks this low, what I'm okay to actually trade off of is this sell here down to this point. I don't want to buy on GU. I just don't think it is a viable option. I don't see this as a good enough inducement from this area, given that it's a 4-hour decisional, to actually be enough to push price up. Yes, we've got liquidity up the top, but I just don't see it as enough. If anything, I do want to actually trade through it. Trade through it this way and then trade through it back that way. Okay, so this area, funnily enough, is probably valid for a sell. I'm not going to look. We've got about half an hour till London Open, so I'll be waiting, but I am open once we break this low to come and take this high to then sell down to here. I want to come target this liquidity. It's very important liquidity in that internal range, so I would like to come target that. So sells for me are the go on GU. Okay, so all I'm looking for is realistically that. Now you can look at taking it from further up, but once we break this low, we'll have, I guess, valid extreme, which is more or less mitigated, and then that'll be the decisional. So I want to take the decisional of that and then sell, and then my internal range will actually be bearish, which will be quite weird for a change. Especially so high in the range, it's quite confusing, but that'll be what I'm working with, coming to take this liquidity here. So this can be like a 1 to 3, 1 to 7 type move. You just got to understand that this is the complex pullback section at the moment. At least it looks that way. And it looks like we're building liquidity in here to come and take that point and then sell, which lines up with EU a lot better. So I'm open to that today, but we'll obviously have a go. Now, AU, we have now externally induced. We've actually pushed high again, so every time frame is bullish. Given that that's the case, external range here, more or less, that's kind of like my 4-hour, unfortunately. So we can switch this up now. So that is my 4-hour range here, which means we can more or less use that as our internal and external 15-minute. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So that's my external 15-minute and internal, and I'm just going to work off of that. In terms of what we've got in that range, this was a mistrade from yesterday that I've walked through in the group, and I will do a case study on for the group as well. So if you want to see that, make sure to be in the premium. But we're starting to make our way more or less to the downside. So we've had an internal break here that's then pulled up and broken again. We're having no inducements and no structure cycle. So sells on AU make no sense to me at all. We would need to, as a minimum, come and take this high and then sell off. And for me, we're just too high in the range. We may be able to use that point as a smart money trap to do so, but I think just how high we are, it just holds so much risk. But if price wants to come into this point first, we can possibly look at taking something like that down to small areas, at least to come and take this low here. Buyers, I just don't see a way in either. Sells make the most sense. This is my area here that makes sense to come down to. This is the decisional that broke through that high. It's my external range as well. We don't have an internal structure cycle to the downside. So what that's to the upside, sorry. So given that we don't have anything in here to work with, I see this is just a huge trap area. Heaps of money sitting in the middle of the market, limits everywhere, people trading the imbalance, being stupid. So what I'm looking for is an inducement to get people to then try and buy this, build up that liquidity to the upside, take that up there, and then try and buy back through that way. So I'm open to that, and that's kind of all I see on AU today. Now, the DXY, we have come into that area and pulled back straight, funnily enough, exactly where I wanted to come. And now I think we're going to buy. I think it's more or less makes sense to buy from here. We've taken that internal retest, and we should kind of push back up from here. We're in the last area of mitigation, so I'm just expecting that, which was yesterday's outlook. Coming to this area, really, really clean, makes sense to me. We've got beautiful trend line sitting up here, lots of reason to go up. So I think selling the DXY doesn't make any sense. I see this as a clear inducement. So buying the DXY, selling every other pair, and go from there. We look internally, like I said, we kind of just want to buy through this. It hasn't given much. So directional bias makes sense with our other pairs, and then we can go off that with our other pairs. So let's have a good Tuesday. Let's finish off what we've been doing and staying in tune with that price action. Stay on top of it. Let's have a good day. Any questions, chuck them in the comments. Like I said, premium and free groups all below if you'd like to join any of those. And let's have a good Tuesday.